Yesterday, there was an AMA with some devs chatting chatters on Reddit competitive Overwatch, and somebody compiled? Did a compilation of every answered question from the AMA. X Mango X dash. Now, let's go through it. We have a couple of questions, quite a bit of them. Let's see what the dev said. Question. It's not related to Season 10 balance changes, but I'm gonna ask anyway. Were we secretly testing any new upcoming heroes with the Mega Watch event? Ooh. Alec. No secret testing of anything upcoming in the immediate. So he's not denying it. We do look at how some changes play out though when they become more real and get lots of games. I think the Batch and Ultimate in particular was quite fun, even if very loud and on the border technically. Reinhardt's Frenzy passive was also something we played around with internally, but it was quite hard to communicate effectively. It's always good to see what players get excited about when there are more wacky ideas such as Mirror Watch or April Fool. Some of those could become real down the line. So, TLDR, no, yes, maybe. Didn't say anything with this, but it was no secret testing of anything upcoming in the immediate. Let's go with the second question. By the way, this is very hard to read. Like, usually I keep it at 100. I think it's really zoomed in right now. It's very hard for me to actually keep track of this. Anyway, I'll get used to it, I promise. Who is the hardest character to balance and tweak out of the 3 roles? Ooh. Josh. Probably Sombra due to permanent invisibility restricting how deadly we can make her, but also because she is a hero that excels with strong team coordination. Let's say Sombra or Mei. There are a handful of other heroes with performance stats that differ greatly from the broader community perception of them and that can create difficulty in how we approach balancing them as well. Oh, just answer for DPSs. I was really curious to see what Josh was gonna say about like tanks and supports. But with the DPS, for me it would be, yeah, between Sombra and Mei. I know you guys mentioned 2 upcoming DPS hero reworks. Is there any news about how those reworks are progressing, who they'll be for? I think people have a pretty decent idea, but official confirmation would be nice, and or when they might be arriving. Also, are there any other heroes under consideration for potential reworks? Alec. The 2 upcoming updates that were mentioned were for Cassidy and Reaper. For Cassidy is good. We started some exploration pre-Season 9 for his update. Due to where he was at that time, this update was originally looking at multiple pieces of his kit, but we saw the Season 9 changes largely benefit him, so the update has gotten more focused on Magnetic Grenade and other quality of life updates, specifically to his ultimate, which is a cosmetic ultimate. In Season 11, we're updating Magnetic Grenade. It will behave closer to old Flashbang, no magnetic homing to the target, used in the short range, and will slow/hinder the target. So instead of going like that and it connects, right now it's gonna be like it connects, I guess. We think that plays a lot more with his kit and removes some of the larger frustrations around Magnetic Grenade. More specifics on all that soon. If it's roughly the same mechanic as the old Flashbang, I'm okay with it. Personally, so Cassidy I think is my best DPS whenever I play DPS. I love playing Cassidy, hit scan, bullets, shoots, whatever, you know. But the Magnetic Grenade was really annoying for me to use, and it was really annoying to get caught by it as well, because it just bends through space and time. It goes like, you know? I don't like that. The fact that it's gonna work like the old Flashbang, closer though. We don't have confirmation, but it's gonna go like, or you just throw it somewhere and it connects. That would be good. This means that, for example, you could like throw it above shield, so it means it's gonna explode, not attached to them. I don't know exactly how this is gonna work, but okay, fine. Other than that, please no, Cassidy's fine. For Reaper, we went fairly wide as well in the beginning, and then started to focus closely on updating Shadow Step. That is his teleport, right? Yeah, his shift is great for him. At the moment, we have something we quite like, but it's actually a large technical challenge, and we're in the process of planning out the works/seeing what's possible. In the meantime, we may buff Reaper in some non-tank buster ways, as he lost a lot in the most recent update. Talking about like the tank armor changes that we got with the mid-season patch and stuff. So yeah, maybe Reaper TP change stuff, or just they're gonna look maybe buff him soon so that you don't actually have to play Reaper only if they have like super tanky thing comes. What is the average rank of your playtesters and what level of input do they have in deciding what changes are made in each balance patch? Hudson. A huge part of our team culture revolves around playtesting. From designers to Q&A and community management, everyone has the opportunity to play what we're working on and give open, honest feedback. One of the advantages of this model is we get perspective from a wide range of player ranks from GM1 to Bronze 5. Alright, let's go by goal. Who is GM1? We have to analyze. They mean all GM1. I'm kidding, Jed. I'm kidding. It's been a while since we've taken an official poll on average rank, but having a wide sample helps prevent tunnel visioning on feedback from specific ranks. So, people that are testing this are like from all ratings and stuff. Two-part question here. Why the inconsistency with a dev comment / explanation for the balance changes? There have been many changes that have been questionable. Biggest offender was buffing Sojourn in January when she was widely considered the best DPS that were shipped with zero explanation. Justifying these changes would help a lot with player perception so we could understand these discrepancies. I have to ask, what is going on with Symmetra? She was weak, then buffed, then immediately reverted, now silence. Is she getting reworked? What data shows she needed a nerf? She's super weak and hard to use on ladder, uncoordinated environment by nature, and was only played in OWCS for Mauga. Shouldn't nerfing Mauga have been enough? Alec. Oh, this is a pretty long answer. We should do a better job about this, especially when it comes to getting the community's visibility on what we are seeing versus what the player base may seem to think is the best hero at any given one time. These can differ regularly as certain heroes get power reputations, weaker or stronger than the reality at a given rank, that are hard to shake off. Thanks for the feedback there. We'll make sure we have something here even if it's a simple change. Symmetra kept some of the buffs in that patch, but yes, we hear the feedback of where her current power level is. We may have been a bit overreactive to the Mauga compositions popping up during that time frame. You were suddenly overtuned, but we wanted to be sure of it. For right now, we're in discussions about Symmetra and especially her frontline presence. Believe that's a piece of kit we'd like to promote further, whether through her survivability or beam damage. So, let me reread this a little bit. So what they see versus what we think we see across all ratings is different than what they see, I guess. So for example, if we say that Mauga is super strong, probably the stats show that Mauga is not that strong, so they're thinking of buffing him in that case. This is what I expect with the Sojourn thingy. Like, I think that we were all saying in January, there was like a lot of discussion about Sojourn being the best DPS in January and why they buffed Sojourn. Probably the stats were showing that Sojourn wasn't doing that good, so just buff Sojourn. But they mentioned also cross all ratings and stuff. And then, anyway, and then here with I was getting chat for a second, and then with Symmetra over here, we're in discussions about Symmetra and especially her frontline presence. Believe that's a piece of the kit we'd like to promote further, whether through her survivability or beam damage. This is in correlation with Sim buff, nerf, whatever. She's super weak, hard to use on ladder, was only played over here. Okay, so what I'm getting out of this, to her survivability, this means probably more HP, I'm assuming. More HP or more beam damage. Like literally just increase the DPS of the beam damage. Or maybe a combination of both. You know what would be interesting? Maybe, I don't know, maybe you would generate some HP based on how much damage you're doing with the beam? I don't know, kind of like how Reaper has lifesteal. But then again, that wouldn't necessarily help you like play more Sim, because Reaper in some team comps is weak because you can't get a lot of lifesteal because you're gonna have like squishies and stuff. I don't know. Good news is though, the fact that they are looking at Sim, and probably we're gonna be getting some buffs for her soon. Why was smurf detection essentially removed from MMR adjustment, especially for new accounts? GM level players taking 60 plus games to reach the proper rank ruins so many more games. It feels like climbing in general is artificially slowed down so people will play more, even if they should have reached a higher rank many games ago. Alec. I tapped in our own Gavin Winter for this first part. Here's what he had to say. There haven't been any changes to these systems, but there are edge cases like the examples of Gushway that was recently posted in the subreddit where our systems don't perform in the way we'd like. Most players will still be placed appropriately as they transition from quick play to competitive play, but unfortunately, cases like this have always been possible. Explaining exactly how this happens would make it easier to reproduce, so you'll have to excuse me from not going into intricate detail here. So some stuff was done in order to achieve this, is what I'm getting. For the second part of your question, we believe we made it slightly too difficult to climb at the highest ranks and are looking at making some adjustments soon. So it's gonna be interesting to see. Hopefully, we're not gonna be hit with not expected. Wait, what's the name? Pressure nonstop. Or maybe they're gonna change the SR gain. I don't know. Again, they say it's slightly too difficult to climb at the highest ranks. There is not a single champion 1 or champion 2, and the rank system has been introduced for like what? Since when was champion introduced? A couple of seasons ago, right? This is the second season? 2 seasons. It's been 2 seasons, and nobody's champion 1, so it's champion 2. We've had, I think, 3 or 4 that were like champion 3? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Slightly too difficult. Hopefully they're gonna do some changes over here. We'll have to wait and see what they're gonna change. Will you ever make pick rates and win rates public, even a couple of weeks after the fact? I feel like it would do a lot of help to people understand why changes are made. Is there a win rate range you want to keep all heroes to stay within? Ooh, Josh. There aren't any plans currently to shift resources towards supporting something like that. Sites like Overbuff don't have the complete picture, but the data there for win rates and such is generally fairly close. There is some argument. So, wait. This means that you could look at Overbuff, but don't take it 100% accurate. Just take it as a general orientation, I guess, for stats. You know, doesn't mean that they're close to it, but they're not that far off, you know? They're not like, I don't know, so, like for example, it's not gonna show that Sim has 60% win rate, and then they're gonna look at stats, they're gonna be like Sim has 20% win rate. Probably a couple of percentages here and there. It's just as an idea. There is some argument against being too transparent with those stats, in that it can create a bit of feedback loop where you might see player behavior driven by what appears to be meta in the stats, but that kind of happens already with just the general discussion and sentiment around heroes without stats as well. Our target range for hero viability by win rate is between 45% to 55% unmirrored win rate at Masters rank and above. Those individual win rates often can fluctuate 2 to 3% by day depending on how tilted. Anyway, mostly because heroes tend to have a wider range of wins rates per map. And we're looking at the global average of those, but also individual player performance isn't consistent. So, mostly because heroes tend to have a wider range of win rates per map. So what I'm getting out of this is that, I mean, it's gonna sound obvious, but what I expect sniper heroes are gonna do better on sniper maps, and probably the win rate on, I don't know, the Lijiang Control Center is gonna be lower than on Havana. You know, or maybe heroes like Reaper are gonna be like way better on close range maps rather than on long range maps. So this is like why they go between 45% and 55% with this, I assume. Not to mention that individual player performance isn't consistent, of course. So, lower pick rate heroes fluctuate more, and there is less confidence in the win rate being indicative of indicative, I think that's how you pronounce it, of actual strength. Extremely high pick rate heroes have a similar problem when looking at unmirrored stats. In the end, stats require interpretation to understand the context, and that is why they are not the only basis for balance changes, but are a useful tool to measure the impact of changes patch over patch. So, overbuff in general, 45 to 55% win rate. So if, let's say, on overbuff we see a hero that has less than 45% win rate or more than 55% win rate, then I think that this probably means that there'll be nerf/buff. Maybe. But again, this is for Masters rank and above. And also, this, at least, I think this would be cool of them to share. So although I understand why, like, the reasoning behind them not wanting to like share all the stats and stuff, because yeah, there's gonna be another discussion with the meta. Don't play that hero because the win rate is not that good, you're throwing or whatever, like, it is what it is. But if they would maybe do an article or something like that explaining why, let's say, heroes that have snipers in their kit do better on long range maps and how big their win rate is compared to short range maps, and heroes that excel in close range combat have a bigger win rate than heroes that excel in long range combat, it might provide us a mini guide, including for new players, not necessarily for experienced players, but for new players as well. Because you're gonna be like, okay, so let's say I see Havana, I see this. On Havana, snipers tend to do better. On brawl maps, or let's say, I don't know, on King's Row, brawl heroes tend to do better. And this article, I think would be pretty sweet if they would eventually think about sharing stuff like this. It wouldn't necessarily have to be like 52% in Masters or 53% in Bronze. Just on average, I don't know, snipers do... You tend to win more games with a Widow on, I don't know, on a good Widow map than on a not good Widow map, stuff like that. Anyway, oh my god. Woo! This is a long question. What is Hanzo's new job? Is he supposed to take over Farah's place as the new go-to permanently pocketed hero? To explain more in depth, Hanzo used to be a sniper, but the recent changes caused most heroes to require one extra shot to eliminate a target. Considering Hanzo is the slowest shooting primary fire focused DPS, he was impacted the most, making him the only... Wait, is Hanzo the slowest shooting primary focused DPS? Bum, because you charge. Bum. Okay, there's a wind-up time. Okay. Low shooting primary fire. That is primary fire. Okay, anyway. Making him the only primary fire focused DPS who relies on cooldown to finish off targets due to very long time to kill. Sojourn doesn't one-shot. He needs some bullets from the other gun too, or the E. Assuming full charge, whatever. Assuming full charge in the arrows to be able to hit the targets past melee range. 3 body shots, a lot of numbers. Okay, comparisons. But trying to hit someone 2-3 times in a row even at 35 meters is next to impossible considering physical cover, the long time to kill, projectile travel time. At the same time, Mercy Pocketed Hanzo can still one-shot with the added benefit of now having a 2x bigger arrow hitbox and buffed storm arrows. Okay, so the question is, what is Hanzo's new job? Hanzo is still an effective mid-range burst damage hero even without the one-shot kills. Post Season 9 with the projectile size changes actually saw an increase in Hanzo's performance on the stat side. I do hear you on the loss of how good the one-shot kills felt, but an overarching goal of Season 9 was to reduce a lot of those burst damage frustrations for players on the receiving end of it. Armor changes in Season 10 have also been a benefit to his damage. Still very early, but we've been experimenting with adjusting health pools for some of the more evasive or high damage heroes, which would also put them back into the range of lethal Hanzo headshots and some other hero combos at 225 HP. But while it would bring some interesting texture to hero interactions overall, there are also a bunch of other problems to solve if we want to go through with it. So, let me change this Christmas song. So, stats are saying, stats-wise, that Hanzo's performance increased after these changes. Because their goal was to reduce one-shots with Season 9, which they did. Hanzo can't one-shot that much anymore. Reduce frustrations with it. Armor changes, benefit to his damage. Very early, but we've been experimenting with adjusting... What is this? Okay, sorry about that. So nothing specific for Hanzo over here. First half is for Hanzo. Second half is trying to lower down the HP pools of some very efficient high damage DPS heroes so that Hanzo can still one-shot. How much damage does Hanzo... Hanzo does 240 damage with headshot, right? So it means that they probably are considering some heroes... 240 headshot, thank you. So it means that they're probably considering nerfing some of the very strong DPS heroes to 225 HP. What I'm getting out of this. Or maybe 200 HP. And this is not the first time they do this. If I remember correctly, yeah, and it still is like this. Widowmaker had 175 HP a while ago. You know what I mean? 175 HP, because she was... If you go on her with ball and stuff, you're gonna be able to secure more kills. So maybe this is what they want to do too. They want to just lower down the health pools, which is an indirect buff to Hanzo. But what is being said here is that stats-wise, it's going okay overall. It might feel frustrating to play Hanzo, but it feels okay. Now, what I assume though is that mid-range burst damage hero is that probably the way that Hanzo's being played, or maybe should be played, is just to like burst with an E, high HP targets, like the tank, pressure choke points with the E, use Sonic Arrow. Instead of going for like one-shot kills, going, I don't know, just going for like some sick headshots and stuff, you're more like taking your time and poking them out. If that makes any sense, I think it's roughly similar from what I'm getting out of here to maybe like how with Kirk or like Baptista's, you know, like you don't have that much explosive ability. That's not a word. Anyway, but he's supposed to be a sniper. I get what you mean. Sojin also doesn't have one shot, you know. Widowmaker is the only hero that can one shot. Hanzo can one shot. Tracer can one shot. And Widowmaker can one shot Widowmaker. Maybe in these direct matchups, I don't know, maybe Sojin to 25 HP. Because like on sniper maps, you go Sojin, Widow. You don't go Hanzo, Sojin. Maybe on these maps. Interesting. Still, I'm surprised that they said that Hanzo's doing okay performance-wise. One thing though that I want to say, from what I've seen like in top 500 with Hanzos and stuff, I'm seeing them get a little bit more value out of the dragon, but huge value out of the Sonic Arrow. I'm not seeing a lot of kills in the kill feed from Hanzos, but the Sonic Arrow is very annoying, and it's kind of like very utility wise, you know, because like you Sonic right before they peak, and then your DPS, you are the DPS, just secures the kill, if that makes sense. You know, you're not the one that gets the final blow, but you have a direct impact in getting the pick, that is. And he's still like pretty good at shooting the tanks, especially with the E. Still, we'll see what I want to do. Stormare cooldown so quick. It's a change of playstyle. This is why maybe it feels so so different. For me, like the playstyle with Ana has also kind of changed because you can't like 3-tap anymore. You know, you can't like bomb. You gotta do way more than that. Anyway, moving on. A month later, and considering he's displayed proudly on the Twitter post for the AMA, I got my question. How have you guys felt about the past reworks on the Roadhog and the new one, Wrecking Ball? Like, what the goals were exactly, your personal thoughts, the community response, and what do you want to fine-tune with them post-rework? Those things. I think most people would be interested on how you guys have felt now that it's been a bit. For the most part, we're relatively happy with the new bases both have been given, but there is still some fine-tuning to be done because they're literally taking control over every lobby. Anyway, I'll start with Wrecking Ball. Our goals were to give him more flexibility with his movement/engage options, heighten the benefits he gives to his team, and give some quality of life updates. I think our changes all attempted to address those goals, but one I think we can hit harder in the future is heightening the benefits he gives to his team. So we're gonna make him more support or move him to the support role. I'm kidding. We're a little conservative with the adaptive shields change over health is hyper scary in coordinated environments, so perhaps there's room for that to be more pronounced through tuning and actual feedback received in game, working on some updates here. Overall though, Wrecking Ball is doing much better after his recent updates, and we believe we have a great base to work with going forward. I think that Ball is a little bit too strong. What I'm getting out of this is probably they do not have envisioned any Ball nerfs, but maybe Ball buffs, because the adaptive shields seem kind of weak. I think that Ball's pretty strong, but maybe they want to wait a little bit until players get more adjusted to his like rework ability and stuff with his grapple hook with adaptive shields before they decide to nerfing him. And also, I'm not seeing Ball being played like non-stop by players. It's probably too, considering that there's, I think, Face It going on right now, and OWCS is going to come up with a major, and people are playing a lot of Ramatra, a lot of Winston and stuff. But I am seeing Ball just rolling around everywhere, and if you're against a Ball main and you're playing support, it is so annoying. It is very annoying. I think Ball's way too strong. And changing the shields over here, I don't know. We might see some nerfs in the future. Anyway, I think your perspective is a little skewed because the only Ball you play with is Chasm. No, not quite. This is why when I was answering this, I had other Ball players in mind too. Yes, Chasm is like the best one, the best example in this, and I think he was really effective on Ball beforehand, but I'm seeing a lot of other Ball players that don't do the same things that Chasm does, and they're getting like a huge amount of value with their engages and stuff. I'm saying like the only time when I'm saying like Balls not do that well is when they die, when they feed, if that makes sense. Like they slam into 5 people, guys, why did I die? Ball sucks. You know, if you play Ball like that, I don't think you're gonna have a lot of results. But if you play just to disrupt and have like non-stop uptime in fights, because it's a lot. So before I move on to the next part, so it's like this, from my experience. Ball goes in. Give me a second. Ball goes in, slams, forces cooldowns, gets out of the fight. I have to use cooldowns, otherwise I die. I have to use Lamp or Regenerative Field or Sleep Dart or Nade or whatever. They get out, and then their cooldowns are back up again, while our cooldowns are just halfway through. So balls that do that and have that, it's a dance. Does that make sense? So you go like, boom, force cooldowns, I get out, I go back in, boom, no cooldowns, we win the fight, maybe no, I go out, I go again, boom, force cooldowns, I get out, I go again, oh, you don't have cooldowns again, boom. Does that make sense? Like, it's not one clear engage with ball from what I'm seeing. It's 2, 3, or 4 engages. You don't win the fight in the first engage. You win the fight in the second, third, or fourth engage. The first one being forcing cooldowns from what I've seen, and I think ball excels at this. Still, all I heard was boom. Anyway, moving on. For Roadhog, aside from the conversations about his current survivability, we plan to hit that soon. There are some... Okay, Roadhog nerfs. There are some things for us to look at concerning the frequency of his combo. For example, his pick band begins to go on cooldown when you throw it, so you can pre-place one, it gets destroyed, and then Roadhog already has it ready again. Same as Lifeweaver's Spittle platform. Even though the enemy tank may think there's a window where Hook is less deadly. That's one discussion we've recently had. Still some work here for us to do in terms of the value of pick pen brings outside of the combo as well, and how we can make those windows of combo potential less frequent. Roadhog's been a little bit of a menace in ranked, I'll be honest with you. He's taking like a... He's pretty strong. Roadhog is pretty strong right now, and I feel like you need 4 or 5 players in your team to actually take down Roadhog. So current survivability, yes please, nerf Roadhog, pretty please, pretty please. Are there any nerfs being discussed for Hog? Okay, specifically survivability. Times where multiple people are shooting a Hog and he just walks away while using his breeder, seemingly gaining more health than losing health, makes the damage you're doing to him feel pointless and is very unfun to play against. Especially now that headshots do less damage to him. Exactly. Yes, we plan on nerfing his survivability very soon. We're touching Take a Breeder and Whole Hog in an upcoming patch, hoping that can go live tomorrow. Wait, this was answered yesterday. Hog nerfs today? Hog nerfs today. So maybe Roadhog will actually be able to get killed, you know? Possibly today. Like, the fact that you have increased health pulse in Season 9, headshot changes with damage reduction, 25% they get less damage from headshots. He's Take a Breeder, it's a lot. It's a lot. Hog is a lot. Hog is a lot, and unless your entire team just goes for him, it's very annoying. You can win against Roadhog by 2 ways. Either your team is very coordinated and kind of ignores the Hog after he uses his hook and you go for the backline and stuff, and then hopefully everybody focuses the Roadhog or he misses his hooks, or literally everybody shoots the Roadhog and hopefully that hopefully the DPSs slash supports are not gonna goal you. But if you're playing Ana against Roadhog, this is my experience by the way, when I see a Roadhog and everybody goes, I play Ana, easy clap. Duh. Okay, detectives. I'm playing Ana, I land the Sleep Dart, I land the Nade, and then guess what? Tracer behind me. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm sorry, and Hog doesn't die. He's just gonna get away. So what if I anti him? He has damage reduction when he takes a breeder. It's not that easy. You know, plus Suzu comes in, plus it's a lot. It's a lot. Maybe Lucio speed boosts him out. It's just a lot. It's a lot. But if I invest resources to get a Hog, the Tracer is gonna get to me a lot. So yeah. Good thing that I had dressing out Hog. Not that fun to play against. At his current power level. Hello. Dude, how many questions have they answered? What is this? Oh, hello. With the major tank changes, armor changes, knockback changes, headshot, blah, 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 blah. That released last week. I'm very curious. Have there been any noticeable, immediate shift in the win rates and pick rates amongst tanks? Has there been any collateral shifts within the DPS and support role because of the recent tank changes? I know that, for instance, after the recent armor changes, some heroes have become weaker against armored tanks. Tracer and Reaper, Tracer. While others have become significantly stronger. Cassidy and Hanzo. I'm interested in knowing how the team behind... Okay. Some of this is related to the meta happening where balance changes, but are also related to armor changes / headshot reduction for tanks. From what we can see, the biggest winners in terms of their performance delta of the patch are Ana, Junkrat, Farah, Roadhog, Sigma, Wrecking Ball, and Zarya. Okay. Many heroes stayed relatively similar, while a handful saw a decrease in performance. Bastion, Diva, Mauga, Orisa, and Reaper. I don't know about Diva. The others though, yes, personally, I've been getting more value out of Ana since the mid-season patch dropped, because I can do a little bit more damage to the armored tanks, but also because Orisa does not play that much, so he can actually play with other tanks, and I can do something to them with Ana, compared to like Orisa that just helicopters, I throw the nade. Orisa was just absolutely unkillable. You can play Ana with Winston, you can play Ana with Doomfist, you can play Ana with Diva, you know, so I'm seeing this a little bit more. Junkrat, I think he got buffed a little bit, I'm not seeing that much Junkrat. Faga 2, Roadhog, yes, a lot of Roadhog, Sigma, a lot of Sigma, Wrecking Ball, a lot of Wrecking Ball, a lot of Zarya, pretty strong, but I'm a little bit surprised with Diva. Okay, I'll try to ask some general questions. For you to choose which one to answer. In February, I noticed that you had received great feedback on the maps after the first hack mode, but I was wondering when those ideas would be implemented, especially for flashpoints. Personally, I like Clash mode, but I also wanted to know what kind of results you received that require modification in your opinion, or if you have noticed any optimal results to maintain or imitate for other game modes. These fall outside of your design, but I can talk briefly about the first two questions. I think you're referencing the speed boost that would potentially come to Flashpoint. Oh my god, I'm not gonna walk 200 meters again like for 5 minutes. Took us some time to get these in a good place, but I have been promising in playtest and are on track for a later season. Speed boosts on Flashpoint. It's important to us that when we add elements like that to a mode, that it not only brings quality gameplay, but is also communicated well through sound and VFX. Feel good here now. Ooh, so maybe you can actually play other heroes on Flashpoint maps that don't necessarily require mobility, because if you lose the RNG with where the other point is gonna be unlocked after you cap one and where your spawn point is, you don't actually have to go Kiriko or Lucio or Tracer or I don't know, Ball or stuff like that to get to the point, and you're literally losing because your hero doesn't have that much speed boost to get to the point, because you're really gonna take positions. Strong positions there. So interesting to see this. We got a lot of great feedback, but there are also some things the team wish we did better with the Clash preview. Firstly, it should have showed up more in quick play so y'all got more reps on it and can get a better feel for the flow of the game mode. Secondly, we don't think it was the best suited for open queue and arcade. If we do something like this again, we'll clean that up. With the feedback we received, we've been investigating how to make the final point more appealing to capture for the attacking team. Many games could result in the attacking team not actually wanting to push onto the last point because it wasn't worth the reward. Harder to capture, give up a lot of positioning if you lose, plenty of iteration happening here now to address that particular issue. Honestly, we played it a little bit, chat. Last point to cap felt kind of like 2 CP on Hanamura last point, or in Temple of Anubis, gave the same feelings. Probably they want to move away from that. We'll see what change they're gonna be doing. Hi there. I think one of the most obvious questions people here will have is, what are the plans to balance out Roadhog? Bro, so much Roadhog talk. Okay. Roadhog. Going to be something done about the overbearing passiveness of heroes like LW that will simultaneously not interact with the enemy at all, whilst also not providing any offensive utility for his own team. I think for all other 9 players in the lobby, it's a pretty miserable experience to have an LW. Thanks for your time. Hey, I like playing with an LW, personally. Answer the Roadhog question. Change is coming soon. For LW, one of the discussions we're having right now, actually this week, and have been having for a while, is around the friction that comes with switching between his healing and damage. Because right now you go like... Giving him more flexibility here would be a great boon to his capability within teamfights. So probably something like this. Oh, maybe with one hand he shoots, with one hand he heals. You know? I think it'll be fun. Additionally, we've experienced... Spider-Man. Additionally, we've experimented a lot with his pedal platform. Personally, would love for that to be a more attractive area to stand on as a teammate, whether that be through a buff that platform gives you or something else. But there's a lot of learned behavior to work through as allies hop off the platform quite often. So, what I'm getting out of this is that they probably are thinking of changing the fluidity of his healing and damage. That's what I'm getting out of this. So, how fluid he feels, which is one of the main issues with LW since he was released, for that matter. Yeah, like very weird control scheme and whatever. Then they added new ones. It's confusing. But they want to make it more fluid between your healing and damage. Lifeweaver's damage is actually pretty good, hard to land, but because of how clunky you swap and stuff, it's not like pop and luck, you know? It's not like that. It's more like this is how it feels with how you're playing him. So maybe they just want to make it very, very fluid, like his healing and damage. But I don't know about the pedal platform, because the pedal platform, this is one buff that I've been hearing a lot in chat, and I've been saying too from time to time, that make the pedal platform look kind of good. You know, like if you sit on it, you get, I don't know, big damage boost or reduce cooldowns or stuff like that. The problem is though that not the enemies, but your allies have to use it. And you're gonna be like, use it, please use it. Use the pedal platform, which doesn't do anything to the enemies, it does something to your allies. I think that Lifeweaver, personally, and hear me out, I love playing Lifeweaver. If there would be a Lifeweaver meta, I'd probably main Lifeweaver in that meta. And I would love to have a Lifeweaver meta. Give him something to do something to the enemies. Because you're at the mercy of your team doing something to the enemies. Mercy, in case your team is getting rolled, at the end of the day, you can go in Valkyrie and go and shoot a Widow. Or you can go like in full DPS mode if nothing's happening. It's not that strong compared to, I don't know, Zenyatta goes on the flank, no footsteps, and then puts his balls all over the enemies. But being able to have this option of taking matters into your own hands. Okay, we're getting gold, dude. I want to play Lifeweaver, we're getting gold, let me just do something. I don't know. It can be, in his ultimate, you do more damage. In his ultimate, you do more damage. The tree roots you after a couple of seconds, kind of like how Mei ultimate is. If you're inside a tree radius as an enemy, you get reduced damage. You get increased cooldowns. I don't know, it has to be something that you can do to the enemies, my opinion, because this is, again, waiting for your teammates to play around your kit, to play with you. But what if your teammates don't want to play with you? You know? Anyway, hey, I have two Mercy questions. Is the team looking at Mercy at all for any changes / small buffs? And what is Mercy's pick and win rate now compared to Season 3? Back in mid-Season 9, DPS passive was reduced. Community ranking Mercy as D tier. Okay, I'm not gonna go through all the questions in depth right now because I think this has been going for quite a while. So let me just go with the general stuff over here, like with the answers. Alec, so Mercy question. I think we're more happy in the 20% passive world than in the 15%. It cuts to a lot better, helps mitigate the healing more effectively, so Mercy is more worth a look when that world is permanent. So probably 20% DPS passive is here to stay. There are some questions of how far we can push our movement, and note that is one of the most requested changes. Mercy is still a top picked 3/4 support, 3 out of 4, top 3/4 support, and even higher on console and hit until you hit GM or top 500. Her performance follows a similar trend, where she's in the top grouping for most ranks and remains above average at the highest ranks. Doesn't mean that she won't receive changes, but that is where she is currently. This is a similar answer to like how Hanzo felt, like the question that we discussed a little bit earlier. So both Hanzo and Mercy are doing okay-ish is what I'm getting. I personally think Hanzo's more of a playstyle change. With Mercy though, I think that she does need a small buff. The 20% DPS passive, you gotta give Mercy something to compensate because you can heal and damage boost and the rest and stuff, and yeah, it just feels way weaker. It's like a direct, it was, my opinion, a direct nerf to like Mercy's kit overall. So I think that she needs a little bit of help. Coffee good. She does need a little bit of help. I don't know. I don't know if increasing the healing would be it. I don't know if more mobility. I don't know. But definitely like some numbers. They gotta look at some numbers. I'm not sure how this is supposed to act this. Tank roll, suffering since Overwatch 2 released. Counterswap meta. Tanks, headshot reduction. I don't want a counterswap. I don't want to face unkillable easy to play tanks. I don't want tank busters. I just want a 1v5 without consequences. At its core, Overwatch is a game designed around being able to swap heroes to gain a tactical advantage or help solve a challenge you might be encountering. This contributes to keeping the moment-to-moment gameplay experience dynamic, drives hero diversity, and offers a wider range of both strategic gameplay and skill expression in learning when, where, how to play multiple heroes. There is a question of how much of an advantage is too much compared to the cost of switching. Ideally, we want counters to be clear and understandable, but soft enough that it's still possible to outplay a disadvantaged matchup. It is a team game though, and a 1v1 matchups are not the highest priority when assessing the heroes. Tanks do feel this the most with only one of them per team in a 5 vs 5 role queue, but all roles do experience the pressure to counter and can be countered to an extent. Yes, indeed. We're striving to find a balance between swapping heroes every death, which certainly feels too often, and regularly swapping heroes or getting trapped in mirror matches every game, which quickly leads to fatigue. We've seen a lot of improvements here compared to earlier seasons, but it could always be better. Unhealthy and unpopular designs are not necessarily the same thing. When designing heroes, we aim to provide a wide range of playstyles, mechanics, and aesthetics for players to enjoy. It's okay if they don't all resonate with everyone broadly. We'll do our best to make the game as fun as it can be for a wide audience. So... Wait, I gotta... Huh? Okay, all good. So, chatting chatters, TLDR, it might not resonate with everybody. They're looking into making the experience a little bit better for everybody and stuff, but it is a team game in which you win as a team, you lose as a team, and it was a corporate answer too. This was a very long AMA. I don't want to, like, very long with wins and losses. I don't want to go like in depth with everything yet again. This was a very long one. I think we're up to 1 hour. So I'm just going to say GG's on this one. And please let me know in the comments what do you think about the AMA. What do you think about the answers from the devs? And if you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe. Till next time, Emerald 7 out.